What's up, guys? Mohammed here with SEO Website Masters. I'm going to talk to you guys about how to start a business and how to build business credit. Um, Most people start a business without a business building business credit in mind, only to find out way later after you wasted a whole bunch of money that, whoa, how am I going to sustain without business credit? And that's like one of the major keys that nobody talks about. In this video, I'm gonna help you guys not only set up a business successfully, but also how to build business credit fast, so you can get cars, even buildings, whatever. It's whatever your business needs are. Take care of your expenses, um, but it all starts with business credit. A lot of people say, oh, you gotta save money and use that money to invest and all that bullshit. Um, as a as a new business owner, you don't want to use your own money because um, the percentage of business actually being successful is very low. So it may take you 4 or 5 times before you finally get it right. But um, wouldn't it be better to build a business while building business credit simultaneously, and then leveraging that credit to grow your business? That's really the most sensible way to go about it. I wish somebody would have told me, when I first started. Of course, I used all my money, and you'll soon find that you're gonna burn through that cash so fast, and the business not gonna be able to sustain, and it's gonna tank your business. Now you're gonna have to start all over again. Um, it would be better to build a solid business with a solid foundation while simultaneously building business credit. So the very first thing that one of the very first steps that you need is you need a name. I know that sounds very easy and trivial, but it's a very, very important step, because you want to make sure that you don't have any other competition, meaning you're not violating any trademarks or copyright laws, and you don't want to invest your time, energy, money, only to find out later that, hey, this you can't even use this name because you're in copyright violation. And believe me, that's gonna tank your business very fast. So what you want to do is you want to brainstorm a business name. You don't want it to be super long. You don't want it to be complex or complicated. Um, the business name is really not very important, but it basically has to be unique, meaning you have to be the only one using that name. So the first step would be to go to your state, and under your Department of Commerce. Every state is different. Wisconsin is Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions, but every state they got different names for it. All you got to do is just Google register my business and put your state, and you're gonna see whatever how your state calls it. Every state calls it differently, but they all serve the same function. Um, so what you want to do is you want to enter the name that you've brainstormed, and you want to make sure you don't see any registrations under that name. Once you do that, you could also go on Google and do a little deeper search. But essentially, once you can verify and confirm that you don't see any registration under your state, you should be okay. Now, the second thing that you need, which is also very important, is you need a logo. Now, a logo is important because it's a identity thing. It's like it's a branding thing. Just when you think about McDonald's, well, what's the first thing you think of? It's the letter M, right? The big letter M. That's their logo. When you think of Apple, they're literally using the apple fruit with like a little bite on it. Um, there's like some like esoteric things associated with it, but we all know that it's symbolizing the apple. So you want to brainstorm Typically, while you're brainstorming the name, you could also start brainstorming the logo. And if you're graphically inclined, just start. You can draw a rough draft. If you're not, just kind of write the idea and then hire a professional graphic designer to create a logo for you. Now, if hiring a graphic designer is it's outside of your budget, you can go to Fiverr. It's Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. You can hire somebody literally for $5, and you just write your idea, and they'll create an image, for you or a logo for you. And if you don't like it, you could hire somebody else. A little rule of thumb with dealing with Fiverr, there's a lot of like newbies and intermediate graphic designers. I always go with the best because you want your logo is kind of a big deal. You want it to look really good and professional. So one rule of thumb is when selecting um, a graphic designer off of Fiverr, go with somebody that has the best reviews as well as the best ranking. So you want somebody with like 5 star or at least 4.5 and above, and you also want somebody that has good reviews as well as um, work. It will show you a lot of them how much work they've done. I usually go with somebody that's done 1,000 plus, because if you've done 1,000 logos, you know what you're doing. I mean, nobody's gonna give you that kind of work if you're not good. So if you have a 5 star plus 1,000 work completed, then I know that you at least have experience. Experience is key because experience tells you that that person has honed their skills, and they know what they're doing. I've personally worked in Fiverr, and I can vouch that some of the workers there are real professionals. In fact, some of them have like legitimate, like full-fledged multi-million-dollar companies, and that's just maybe where they started, or it's just another source of income for that business. And a lot of them are overseas, so that's why it's cheaper. So I really like Fiverr. Fiverr is pretty cool. The next thing is you need a domain name. Okay, now the domain name would preferably, I can't even talk today, the name of your business. So as you're doing your business name search to make sure that there's no competing companies using that same name, I would also do the same thing by just going to GoDaddy and putting in your company name.com to see if it's available. More than likely, unless it's very unique, it probably won't be available, but you can be unique with it. You can like put a dash in the middle, or you could like shorten it. You can turn it into like an acronym, if it's a really long name. You could be creative with it, but try to make it as close to your name as possible, because that will help with your search engine ranking. In fact, it will help if you are able to use that same name.com. Excuse me. And try to get .com. .com is the best domain to get in terms of search engine rankings. It just means commerce. You are operating commerce. If you get into like .net, .biz, and all this other nonsense, it's not as good as .com. .com is the hardest to get because there's a whole business around like getting just buying up business .coms and then reselling it for big bucks. Imagine if you were the first person to secure McDonald's.com, and then for McDonald's, because they want to use that same name. Imagine how much they will pay you. So it's important. And then most importantly is save that name. So you're only able to, I believe, you're basically when you purchase that, you can't buy it permanently, so you can buy it for like a year, 2 years, 5 years, I think. Make sure you keep maintaining that, okay? Even if your business fails, don't get rid of it, because it actually accrues value over time, and maybe you can resell it, if somebody else is going to use that name. When you do that, then you want to go to the Department of Commerce, like I'm saying, where you can register your business. It's different for every state. Like I said, in Wisconsin, it's Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions, but I know in every state they got different names for it. So you want to register your business with the state. Now that this is important because if you don't register your business, you're not going to be able to build business credit. Believe me, I've tried it. It's not going to work. You need to build business credit. And if you're worried about asset protection, I'll make videos later on and what you can do to as far as asset protection. But for now, for the purposes of starting a business, it needs to be registered if you really want to be serious about it. Now, when you register it, there's so many different classifications that for the entity. It could be a sole proprietor, it could be an LLC, it could be a corporation, a C corp, S corp. It could be an estate or a trust. There's so many variations, but it really depends on your business need. Typically, what I'll recommend for somebody that doesn't have like a multi-million-dollar business that's already ongoing. You're starting from scratch. I'll recommend you start with the LLC because it just based on the protection, it's going to protect your asset. When I mentioned earlier, a lot of businesses fail in the very beginning. You don't know what's going to happen, so you want to protect yourself just in case. If it goes bad, the LLC provides some level of protection where they're not going to come after your assets. They'll just attack the business, whatever it made, or if it needs to go through the whole bankruptcy process. But essentially, they're not going to come after your assets. Another very important thing is you don't ever want to mix your personal with your business. So business and personal do not mix. So you want to make sure when you're setting up the business, whatever that's in that business name has nothing to do with your personal life, or whatever bank account. So once you register an LLC, every state is different. You just pay a filing fee. You can be a manager for the business. There's like a single member. Don't do the single member because all that liability falls on you. You want to be like a manager, management base, and there's another one that I can't recall right off the top of my head, but you want to go with LLC. And every state is different. They got different rules. Some state, you have to like post on a newspaper, publicizing, make sure nobody else is using that name. I know in Wisconsin they don't do that. You just gotta fill out some stuff and then send it to the Secretary of State, and then you just kind of wait for an approval process, and then they'll approve you or deny you, and give you the reasons on how you can correct it. So once you get through that, your business is registered. Then you want to go get an EIN. Now remember, you want to use the exact same name that you use to register that business under your state. And once that's done, once you have that name, you just go to the IRS.gov website and you register for an EIN. Now, make sure you're aware. There's like some scams out there that you think you're on the IRS website, but you're really not, and they're trying to charge you for EIN. That's a total scam. EINs are completely free, and it's only generated by the IRS, and you can only do it on weekdays during business hours. So you want to make sure while you're registering on the domain for the IRS, it says .gov. If it says like .com or anything like that, it's a scam. Okay, so once you get that EIN, now you're ready to go get a business bank account. Now, business bank account is very, very important. It's probably one of the most important things as far as setting up a business properly, and then as far as building business credit. Again, remember earlier I was saying you don't want to mix personal and business. Um, you know, if you have a personal account, you know, you can go to the same bank, ask for a business, but to be honest, I wouldn't even, you know, use the same bank. I would go use something completely different, like a credit union, something like that, and just go there, apply for a bank account. And when you apply for the bank account, they're gonna ask for, you know, the registration with the state. They're gonna ask for the EIN and all this stuff, you know. Now, honestly, to prior to registering, probably I'm saying prior to applying for a business bank account, I think I forgot you actually need a business address. So now a lot of people say you can use your personal address. I don't recommend it because um, there's so many reasons for it. Because for one, you're mixing personal and business, which is not good, because what's gonna happen is the credit bureaus, they know your personal address, and the minute you use that same address, they're gonna mix it together, and you don't want that. You know, you want to complete two separate things, and that all falls under your asset protection. When things go wrong and somebody's coming after your assets, and you're over here mixing all this stuff up, it makes it so easy for them to penetrate the corporate veil, which is basically coming after your money, you know. So if you want to be completely bulletproof, you want everything to be completely separate. So don't use your personal address. Just go look on Craigslist. There's like places where you can rent, you know, a small office. That's really the best way. But if you know, finances is not, if you don't have a whole lot of money, you can go with Regis. They're like basically like a virtual office. It's really literally it's a real office, but a lot of people are using the same address. So you get to basically rent a space, the same space, with thousands of other people in your local area. But it works just as good. It's just, you know, when you start leveling up, your business credit starts growing, you can always get your own spot. Um, Now, another important thing right after that, I think I'm in four right now, or five, whatever. I'll give you guys bonus, it's all good. Um, you also need a business phone number. Again, you don't want to use your personal cell phone or whatever. You're better off getting an 800 number. Um, an 800 number is way more powerful in terms of applying for business credit, because it makes you legitimate. And then for credit purposes, when you're starting to apply for credit cards and loans, that's where it's gonna matter, because when the banks see you're using your personal, not only are the credit bureaus gonna start mixing, but they're gonna think you're like, you know, you're not there yet, so you're not gonna be fundable, you know. Um, uh, you know, one thing I forgot to mention about Regis, the virtual office, they're cheap. It's only like $49.99 a month, so that's nothing compared to, you know, leasing an actual office or building. Um, there is also a cheap 800 number. I think it's called Ring Central. That's the one that I use. They're only like 30 something, 40, 50 a month. It's not expensive either. Now, Ring Central is cool because you can also register with 411, which is a crucial step, because um, it's you putting your business out there. It's gonna get indexed into the 411 directory, so that's one place creditors look when they're researching your business to approve a credit card or a loan. So 411 is a big deal when you're using Ring Central. You can use like your local Spectrum, or I don't know what it is in your state. There's Cox and all these other businesses, but make sure when you do use their services, they have the 411. They are going to be more expensive, so if money is an issue, just go with Ring Central. They're cool. For like $34.99, you can get a one line and still be able to register into the 411 directory. All right, so once you get that phone number, once you get that phone number, you also are going to need a website. You know, you're going to need a website. You're going to need hosting. Um, if you are proficient, you can just build your own website. You already got the domain. Um, Now, hosting, that's different than a domain. If you need help, you know, this is where we come in. We help businesses grow. We build websites, and we also optimize the website so you're viewable and searchable online. We can help you with the hosting and all that. Now, there's a whole lot of competition when it comes to hosting. I've used majority of them. A lot, most of them are garbage. There's Bluehost, HostGator. They're not garbage, but if you want good service, you're gonna have to pay a lot. They're expensive. Now, there's also Webflow. I really like Webflow because it has all of the above. Um, if Webflow is not something, you know, if you're not that proficient, you can use like SiteGround. They're really good, or HostGator. They're good as far as hosting. And once you get a hosting, a lot of hosting providers have like free templates that you can use. So if you're not good in creating websites, just just use one of their free templates and then just go from there, because you know you eventually get better at it, right? And when your business starts growing, you can hire a professional like us to help you create like a real professional website. But um, basically, you need a website no matter what. No matter what your skill level is, you're gonna need a website, especially if you want business credit, because the creditors, they're gonna look for all of those things. And if you're missing any one of the factors that I'm telling you, you're not gonna be fundable and or credible in the eyes of, you know, the lenders. All right, so we're up to 6 now. You also need to create an email using your own business name, because that's another thing that the creditors are gonna look for. So you don't want to use like Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail. Since you secured a domain, you bought a domain. Domains are cheap, by the way. They're only $1 for a whole year. So, and you have a hosting, you can create your own email using your own domain. So it just looks more professional. So you can use your name at your domain, or info at your domain, or contact us at your domain, or sales at your domain, whatever it is. Just make sure your email is at yourdomain.com. All right. Okay, so also what you want to do is you want to register. Now you're going to start registering your business in other directories. So you want to register with Duns and Bradstreet. I know some people say, oh, you know, Duns and Bradstreet is dead, blah, blah, blah. They're still around. And some creditors do look for them, especially when you're in the beginning and you're starting to build business credit. You're going to need to register with Duns and Bradstreet, because you're going to need like minor accounts to build up to the major accounts. So when you just start off right off the bat, nobody's going to give you any credit, you know. So you're going to have to, you know, start opening, you know, lines of credit in order to eventually qualify to get business credit. But in order to get those minor accounts for the lines of credit, they're the ones that look for Duns and Bradstreet. So Duns and Bradstreet is not important for like credit cards and major loans and things like that, but they are important to get the minor accounts when you're for the beginning. When you have to actually get to the point where you qualify for business credit, you're gonna need Duns and Bradstreet. And then you also wanna also register with Yelp. Yelp is also major, just for your local area. And then it also going to help you with SEO, because you're going to be creating backlinks, right? You register with Yelp. You also want to register with social media accounts. So now, right now, you need some backlinks. So you want to get like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest is really good. TikTok is like the number one right now. It's the best out of all of them. I think Facebook is dying. But but TikTok is major, and then you also want to get YouTube. YouTube is big because they're 9 when it comes to page ranking. So that's going to generate some really major backlinks for you, and it's going to help boost your new website's ranking. So I'm all the way up. I've already covered 10. I can give you guys a few bonus. I guess you can register with Bing also. They're kind of like a different competitor of Google. So you're gonna register with Google My Business, and then you're also gonna register with Bing, because that helps with um, you being found. Because right now we know that over 80% of consumers go on their phones to look for businesses, right? So if consumers are 80% of them are on the phone, you want to make sure your business is where they're at, right? So when you're on Bing, that's Yahoo, right? And then when you're on Google, that's Google search, and then you also want to be on Google Maps, right? Because I mean, you've used Google Maps, right? When you're looking for a restaurant, right? You're looking for a dentist, that in your area, you just type it on Google Maps, so you can find the address, and that's where you registering with them comes into play, because when they're looking for whatever your service is in your area, Google Maps can help consumers find you. All right, I've covered more than 10. I promise to give you guys 10, and I promise you, if you use all of the following steps, step by step, like I said, within 3 to 4 months, your business is going to be eligible for credit, meaning you're going to apply for credit cards, and eventually you're going to be able to buy a car. You're going to be able to buy even property or rent properties for your business. You're going to be able to get funding for equipment. I'm going to make another video about like things that you can do in between those steps. So after you implemented all those steps, 10 steps that I've given you verbatim, there's also some little nuanced things that you need to do, like in terms of applying for minor accounts for line of credit, and then start, like, they're called net 30s, right? And then 45, some of them are net 90s. If you get 3 or 4 of them, and you purchase some things, you pay it off right away, and you do that for a few times, they're gonna start giving you more and more line of credit. Some companies will start you with 2,500. You buy a few office equipment items, pay it off right away, and then it goes up to 5,000, 10,000, right? You start doing that, then you apply for credit cards, you'll automatically qualify for like 10,000, 20, 30. It just all depends on whether you follow all these steps, and the creditors see that you've check mark all these requirements, and they see you as a credible business, and now you're going to be very credit worthy. Some people say even freeze your personal credit. By the way, having a very high personal credit will boost your business credit as well, because it's all about credibility. So if you have like a 700-800 score and you follow all those steps, you may even be able to bypass all those minor accounts and straight away qualify for 20,000, 30,000 right off the bat line of credit. But it just depends on your situation, right? And it also depends on the nature of your business. Some business are considered like risky, right? So like if your business is more stable and credible, like I don't even know what they consider credible. They consider restaurants a risk. Of course, my kind of business, it's a risk. Anything to do with like digital marketing is risky, so you're gonna have to follow all those steps verbatim. But another point that I'll give you guys as a bonus, you can go into NAICS.com, and you can look up the specific code for your business. And when you go apply for an account, make sure that code, you can do research on it to see whether lenders consider that business classification as risky or not. If they consider risky, do a deeper research to see if there's like a safer NAICS code that you can use that creditors consider it to be a little bit more credible. Okay? This whole thing is just literally about credibility, guys. Like, when you're starting out, you're basically a risk, right? So any little suspicion, like it's only just going to deter you from gaining, any kind of credibility with these lenders. So you want to follow these steps as close as possible, because it's only just going to make the lenders trust your business even more. All right. So as long as you do all these steps, you should be all right as far as building business credit. All right, here you have it, guys. Until the next video.